we're pretty excited to hear about what TSAT is, what you are doing, and let's get started with a little bit about yourself, an introduction. The $1 Bitcoin caller. You saw Bitcoin's vision before the world did. And I think that's huge. I don't want to give away your introduction. I think I'll let you do that. So if you don't mind going into a little bit about yourself, tell us how you first got into crypto, Davincij. I mean, for people that don't know and that are living under a rock, of course.
Sure. Yeah, I'm most famous for videos where I said I'll just buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Right. It was made out of frustration because I knew that it was going to do extremely well. Um, when I first saw it back in March of 2011, um, I was ridiculed back then because I was doing videos about gold and silver since 2008, and then when I saw Bitcoin, because one of my subscribers said, "Hey, what do you think about Bitcoin?" And my first reaction was obviously like most people, "Oh, it's a scam, right?" And because I was a software developer, and I said, well, you can't solve the double spend problem, right? That's been one of those issues that programmers have been struggling with um, forever, right? It's always been one of those issues. It's also called the Byzantine generals problem. So, yeah, it was just not viable. There was no viable solution to it. And then when I read the white paper of Bitcoin, and I was like, oh, okay, this might work. Went through the source code thinking it was like, this can't work. And then because I'm a software developer, I realized that it does work. It was going to work. And I was like, oh my God, humanity was saved. Because what you don't know is most of us throughout history get wiped out by this current financial system. It's not like we haven't been through this before. This current financial system has been done thousands of times to people, to the individuals around the world, and usually it was localized, but today it's global, and it basically destroys anyone in its path, the average person, and when it comes to its end. And then usually that ends up with a despotism, some sort of crazy leadership comes into power and then wipes everybody out. Gets into like for example, we end up the for example, you saw it with Germany. Germany's an good example. They went through Weimar Republic and they basically got Hitler. So this is why I was basically going out of my way because I'm a software developer. Most software developers are introverts, and I am an introvert, but not so much anymore because I saw that I had to do something in order to share what I knew, even if only just one person listened. That hey, you need to protect yourself from our current financial system, or you're going to die, right? Because that's the end result of this, right? Most people get, you know, brutalized in the new system and a new order of things because they don't have any money. And you know what the golden rule is: those who has the gold makes the rules. All right, so that's why I got into Bitcoin and why I became so famous with that $1 call.
I mean, that $1 call was legendary, and you definitely made history. And you put your money where your mouth is. I love that you say that Bitcoin saved humanity. I've never heard that, but I totally agree with you. And as I mentioned, you definitely made history. So it's a pleasure to have you on here first and foremost, and then second is like we want to know what you're up to right now. Like, what is Satoshi 15? What's TSAT? What's the main mission behind the project?
Well, TSATs came to me right after the meme coin explosion. Everybody was buying meme coins and stuff like that. Even me, I was into meme coin heavy, uh, and only because you can buy a lot for a small amount of money, right? And that was the traction. And I'm like, well, you could do that with Bitcoin, right? But you don't see it, right? Because there's no asset out there that shows you. right? That hey, I can buy Bitcoin, I could buy like Satoshis, and I could get a thousand, 100, 1,000 of them for $1, and that's a lot, right? That's not like 0.0001. It's 1,000, right? So it makes you feel like you're growing something. And so that's when I decided to build this. I started at first building it as okay, well, you know what? I'm going to build it as a bridge from Bitcoin um, to Solana, right? That's what I was planning on doing first. And I was as I was building the bridge, I was come up with the design for the bridge and so forth. I found out the design that I was planning had already been done with TBTC. TBTC had already built the exact same bridge in the exact same way that I had designed, even though I'd never seen it before. And I even asked AI, hey, is there someone out there that has the same design? And at first, the first time it told me no. And then as I was halfway through the development process, or not halfway, it was more like I was it was just like not even a quarter way. Actually, I was like 10% into the development process when I said, "Hey, you know what? Do you see how what we're building here?" The way I was asking the AI system, has anybody done this again? And then it pointed out T the threshold is TBTC. At first, I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted to build it, but then I realized, wait a second here, just turn this thing around. Don't be disappointed. This means your idea works. Your philosophy works. This threshold works. This is a good thing. Now you wanted to make it Satoshis. So why don't we create something else that makes it Satoshis on Solana? And I'm like, yeah. So then I started building um, a smart contract that would lock up tSATs and give you no, sorry, lock up TBTC and give you tSATs. And so that's what I was started building. And once that was, I designed it in such a way so that it can be a multi-purpose application, not just for specifically for Bitcoin TSATs, but right now that's what people are using. That's what I'm using it for. But it can be used for a lot more, just in case somebody wanted to build something on top of that as well. The technology is there. It's open source, and yeah, built it for multiple purposes as well. And so once that was done, I released TSATs, right? Because I created 21 trillion of them. And you're like, 21 trillion? That's not enough. Why 21 trillion? That's only 1% of all Bitcoin. Yes, I know. Because one, we don't want that much people on the Solana network, the secondary network with that much Bitcoin, right? Um, so I wanted to make sure that that was limited. And besides, market forces, even if it were to, if we were to get 1% onto Solana, then that would be a crazy amount of value moved on to Solana. And on top of that, obviously, because you see the fully diluted market cap of TSATs is let's see here. Fully diluted is 23 billion. I guess that's still. You might think that that's still a crazy amount of money, even though Bitcoin's like trillions, right? Um, it is. The thing is that market forces will make sure that even if we so every single TSAT was purchased, it somebody will sell it if because it is Bitcoin. It's only backed up with Bitcoin. So if you overprice it, it will move back to its actual price because that's its real true value. So I mean, there is a possibility that every single TSAT gets purchased, but it won't make the price go any higher than what Bitcoin price is because that's what it's backed up with.
Okay, it totally makes sense, and I love all the thought that you've put into it, like with capping it at a 1%, maximum 21 trillion. And I think the unit bias is real. When I talk to so many beginners, they still think that Bitcoin's so expensive for me to buy, and they're not aware that you can split it up into 100 million pieces. And I really love that you said stacking Satoshis or Satoshis on Solana. I love that phrase. And I think that it gives people, because Solana is kind of, the chain to be on right now, meme coins. So why not put your profits in something like tSAT where you can actually stack sats and do it easy? And people have this like major unit bias where they think a cheaper price, more sats is more beneficial, but it's actually the same thing. So what major problem is TSAT solving in the crypto space? I know maybe you touched on it a little bit, but if we dive deep into, one of the major problems you think you're solving.
Yeah, sure. And the major problem I'm solving is making it approachable Bitcoin when I only have a few dollars, right? Or when I have like $10 or $20, or I want to dollar cost average in with a small amount of money. This is what it allows you to do. You can actually start DCAing into Bitcoin with very small amounts, with Satoshis and DCA into Satoshis. And a lot of people mistake this for a meme coin. They say, when is it going to list on Binance? It's already listed on Binance because it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin, right? Same thing, right? So I don't know what they're hoping for, right? I mean, yeah, I guess can be considered a separate token, but its value would be the same, right? And so it's just priced differently, right? One from for one whole unit. And so the one whole unit is what people want to see because it makes sense. When you go into a store, you don't want 1/100 millionth of an apple. You want the whole apple, right? And so that's what you're getting when you buy T-sats. You're getting the whole apple, right? You're getting a whole Satoshi. And this makes sense for the majority of people. You can get one Satoshi for less than a penny, for 1/10 of a penny right now. Instead of looking at it, I can get a fraction of a Bitcoin because it's $100,000. No, no. Now it's 1/10 of a penny, and so it's no longer unaffordable. It's very affordable to get some Bitcoin. And that is the solution that we're providing for people. And really getting the degens out of the meme coin space, right? Because honestly, a lot of people, even though I told them, hey, you know what? Invest only something you can lose into any meme coin. Most meme coins are going to go to zero, or most meme coins are not going to do well. It's just, you can try your luck on meme coins. It's just most times it's just not going to work out. They still, a lot of people just throw everything they've got and then they complain that they lost everything. And that's the problem. So with Bitcoin, of course, you can throw everything you've got. You can throw everything you got here. Um, it's the same kind of risk as Bitcoin, technology risk, right? Is there an issue with or Solana? Because you're on Solana anyways. Is there an issue going to be with Solana? Is there an issue going to be with the smart contract? Is there an issue going to be with bridges? Right? Is what your risks are, but it's not. It's the same risk that you're taking with Bitcoin. Is there going to be an issue with Bitcoin? And you know what? Time has proven Bitcoin, of course. The bridges, also time has proven them, right? That that because they're part of keeping this all together, of course. There's a time, right? I mean, it's only been 4 years for the bridges, most of the bridges, but they've all shown resiliency. And of course, my smart contract has is still new, but I've been a long time developer, guys. I'm 53 years old. I've been writing software since I was 11 years old, and so I know all the security issues and stuff like that. And with AI, it helped a whole lot more. because I know what questions to ask. I know how to, and then when I did ask the questions, came up with test results and how to come up with tests to make sure that that my contract was rock solid. So, and then you can always ask now today. You can ask AI to read through the source code. That's the beauty of it, right? And verify that, hey, I've done everything correctly. So I love that. I love that. So individuals can be experts themselves.
Wow, writing code since you're 11, that's quite impressive, honestly, I have to say, Davincij. And you explain everything so simple to understand. And I think everybody here, I mean, will really understand like the benefit of stacking sats on Solana. Can you explain like how the Satoshi 15 ecosystem works? What users can do within it. Also, I think you actually unlock more opportunities maybe for people even on Bitcoin in cold storage in their on a native Bitcoin, because they might be able to leverage it in DeFi now on the Solana network. So maybe go into the Satoshi 15 ecosystem, how it works, what users can do with it. Is there any other opportunities to maybe leverage it, loan, borrow on the Solana network?
Yeah, all that's available on the Solana network. In fact, you can actually, with most tokens, and with because it is Bitcoin, it makes it even that much easier to earn more Bitcoin with this asset. You can always provide buy the asset and provide liquidity. Providing liquidity is not something that just the dev does. No, no, no. Anyone could do that, right? Usually, sometimes some coins, with especially with Radium, you can actually give away extra tokens as for providing liquidity. I don't do that because by providing liquidity, you're not taking any kind of risk, because no matter what, other than the risks, the current technology risks. So no matter what, when you provide liquidity for TSATs, you don't take any Bitcoin risk. I mean, dollar risks. I mean, you only take the Bitcoin risk only. So effectively, you get more Bitcoin, not more dollars. So if you believe in dollars, this is not the ideal system to provide liquidity, but you can do it. You can provide liquidity in dollars if you believe in dollars, and it will make you more dollars, right? By providing TSAT and a USDT pair of liquidity. But also, if you provide a pair of TSAT and a Bitcoin pair like WBTC or CBTC or even TBTC, right? When you do that, what happens is you can't lose to impermanent loss. There's no chance. If you don't know what impermanent loss is, AI can explain it best for you. It's just basically when you take um, a two tokens that you're going to put into a decentralized exchange, you're guaranteed the same dollar value, right? At the end of the day, but you might end up with one more of one token than the other than you would like to have, and the true value of that token may not be what the system figures out it really is, because especially if it's a meme coin, when you try to sell all those tokens, you will actually cause the price to drop heavily on one side, and you will not get the same value out. So that's where impermanent loss comes from, right? It also comes from arbitrage and stuff like that, but it's a little bit more complicated um, to explain. So, but that doesn't happen to you with Bitcoin. If you have two pairs of Bitcoin um, as your asset for a decentralized exchange, you only just earn the transaction fees. Boom, free money, free Bitcoin. Actually, not money, but still, that's what you. If you're saving for Bitcoin, that's what it is.
That's huge. I was just going to say like an infinite money or an infinite Bitcoin TSAT glitch where you're just pairing TSAT and another form of wrapped Bitcoin. So that is huge. I just wanted to note for everybody listening, we are giving away $500 in TSAT. So make sure that you reshare, post your questions, post proof of attendance, and we'll reach out to everybody. And everybody from previous AMAs, we're going to be sending out all the rewards over the weekend. So make sure to stay active and appreciate all the attendance and support we get every week. And of course, Davincij, I know it's Friday, it's Halloween. So definitely thank you for your time. What inspired you to get involved with TSAT? I know you went into a little bit of the story, but we have a ton of listeners here now. And like, what's your role? Is it a one-man team? Is there anybody else on the team pushing this forward?
No, I'm a single developer, and you know what? I've worked for major companies that I promised I couldn't talk about, um, that built their software, and I was the only guy, so they don't want to tell anybody that I was the only guy building their software, and so yeah, I'm for TSATs, it was not that big a deal, anyways, right? I mean, it was not the big application. Was a bigger application would be like building your own, what's it called, blockchain, which would require a bigger team, right? But this was not that requiring a big team, because it was just, okay, well, hey, I just need to build a smart contract, and since I already know how to do that, right, and know how to build a website, right, and that's it. I just went ahead and did that. Now I do have a team of people to help me with social media. That's not a one man show. My team of social media is there. The people doing my edits, doing my posting for me. There's people doing all the different grunt work that I don't do right now, that are still working for me. But they haven't been able to, like, specifically do any kind of work for TSAT. And even have a developer actually on staff, but I didn't involve him on this because it was my baby and I wanted to do this. So I was too excited to do it, Mom. I wanted to do this on my own. I wanted to do this, build this thing, basically for the people, and basically for fun, to see if I could, what I can do. And yeah, I was enjoying it so much so I had to pull myself back from actually going so far on the application, making it so perfect, right? That yeah, us developers, we can go on forever, right, to make something perfect, but you don't really need absolute perfect, as Solana actually proved.
I love it. I love it. And it's a noble mission, honestly, to expand Bitcoin's community. Of course, as well, like you're onboarding new holders, you're onboarding new Bitcoiners, and you've been doing that for what, almost 10 plus, what, almost, yeah, 10 plus years, which is insane. And you've been right every single time. So it's crazy to see that you're pushing this along yourself. You've coded everything yourself. Even did the website yourself. And of course, you have a huge community behind you. We've seen wrapped Bitcoin alternatives depeg, and this might be like a tough question. Like, what ensures that we don't see depeg and TSAT? Like, is there any sort of transparency? I know you said you can go through the smart contract, it's open source, all of that great stuff, but is there any security for users? Can you dive into that?
Yeah, sure. Yes, there's lots of security for users when it comes to, for example, TSATs, right? If you head over to FRT15.net, this is where the smart contract lives. You can go to the About page, and then you can find the GitHub on the About page. And then that's everything that I've done, every single piece of code, even the website itself is there. So it's basically, because it's a smart contract, and the smart contract, the website is not the smart contract, which it can understand people's misconception of that. It is not, it's just the interface to the smart contract. And so if you have the website, you have the interface to the smart contract. And because I provide the full web page on GitHub, everything that I've done. you could actually download the web page, run it on your own web server yourself, and access the smart contract, right? Because it's on Solana. And so then with that, if you look at that, there's no security issues with that. Also, the upgrade, of course, it is upgradable, right? So you might be concerned, well, what if you do upgrade it to and try to take everybody's TBTC? Well, here's the thing: I have multiple multi sig, right? And we're going to expand the control over who gets upgraded, and I won't upgrade the contract so willy-nilly anyways. And I will have a voting systems right before I go ahead and do that. Before we make any kind of change to the contract, we'll have some sort of voting system and some sort of governance process before any upgrades can be agreed upon um, on the smart contract, because that's the most critical thing, right? So obviously it has to be protected for my users, right? So people have to, right now there's three people that have to support the agreement of any kind of upgrade. So this is just for emergency issues right now. And if there's no emergency issues, it's just going to be okay, well, we're going to have to build a governance to ensure that people get to see what we're going to upgrade, if they want to agree to the upgrade, should the upgrade pass, right? And then go through any kind of upgrade process of the smart contract. So that is the whole thing when it comes to security of TSAT itself. If you want to talk about threshold, that's a separate issue of security altogether. But they've been vetted, of course, through time, as well as basically because I've looked at the technology and wrote this. I was planning to write the exact same thing. So I know the technology works, and I knew. Here's the thing: their whole TBTC, the whole process was exactly what I was writing when I first started the project. And so it was pretty incredible that they actually mimicked what I came up as a solution, and then and then made it work, because I was concerned whether or not my idea was going to work, right? Because it requires a lot of complex moving parts, but they pulled it off, right, and made it work, and it's now live. So now I'm convinced that that's why I'm convinced. I'm 100% sure that it does work, because I was going to build it myself. So there you go. So, and so that was where I landed, and so that's the security there issue there. Now, of course, there's another security issue, of course, with wormhole bridges. You have to. TBTC is not native to Solana. TBTC is not native to Solana, so it gets bridged over. So the issue is there a problem? Can there be a problem with the bridge, the wrapped bridge? If you look at that, if you look into that, there was an issue before, and they cleared it up, and now and nobody lost any money during that issue, but there was, and they've cleared that up many years ago. That was in 2002. And now today the bridge is still solid and working fine. Yeah, you could ask AI says, hey, you know what, that is a part of your risk profile. And I think it's worthwhile, the risk, because everybody wants to build something that's going to last, and that people can use. And bridges actually can are a way of profiting for the person who built it. So obviously they don't want to have the bridge break down, because they can. What they do is they provide liquidity on both sides, so that they can take a small percentage by crossing the bridge. So obviously they don't want that to break.
Thank you for the deep explanation, and it's definitely securing to know that you're on top of the security. It's people are putting their hard-earned money, so it sounds like you have that more than covered. Davincij, can you tease like any upcoming partnerships or milestones that the community should be excited for? Like maybe any major goals or roadmap updates for TSAT?
Yeah, I think one of the things we're going to build is some sort of like gamification to get people on board. I think that's important. Um, But right now, that gamification is placed on hold until I work on the school, because I'm really focused on my school, trying to figure out how I can get people on board to learn how to hold Bitcoin and for the long term. I realize that when I walk around these Bitcoin conferences, and ask people who want to take a picture with me, "Do you have any Bitcoin?" And the answer is no. And I'm like, "Why not?" Because I don't have any money. And I'm like, "Did you get in here for free?" And like, "No." And how much did you pay? Then they'd tell me $300-400, and I'm like, I want to smack the black off of them, right? Like, dude, that was wasted money that could have went to Bitcoin, saved your, saved for your future, right? What are you doing here, right? If you have no Bitcoin, right? And then talk about some other, XRP, ton BS crap token that's obviously like the bad tokens that you don't want to hold, right? That are basically long-term scams, right? Long-term scams, just like the Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve is a long-term scam, right? It's a long con, right? Because it requires confidence in order for it to exist, right? And so if you con enough people, well, your long con is going to go for multiple generations, right? That's what because that's how it works, right? Any kind of Ponzi scheme just needs more people, and that's what the dollar is. It requires more and more people to go into debt more and more, and convince them to do that. And so that's what works. It's if you keep the Ponzi scheme going. But we're at the end of that, right? Because you can't expand debt forever, right? Because it has to grow exponentially. That's how the system works. It's an exponential growing debt. And I don't know if you know this. Most people don't know this because it's not intuitive. Exponential functions can't go on forever because the numbers get too large, right? Even if you start off with a small percentage, right? So let me to make it clear for you. Let's just say you were to receive um, $1. Even though the dollar had never existed back 2,000 years, $1 2,000 years ago, compounded at monthly with an annual APR of 2%, right? Did you know by this time you would have a number so big it would be bigger than all the atoms in the universe? So effectively, you would have all the atoms in the universe, and that'd be yours. That's the power of compounding. And just 2%, right? So you really can't earn an interest forever. And this takes us back to, if you want to earn money with TSATs using, what's it called? The DeFi, right? In DeFi, you can earn money because you're first there. The problem is it all trends to zero. And I see it because if you what happens is, did you know that the decentralized exchanges, they used to charge people for using them, and now they don't? Why? Because it trends to zero, right? Because there's so many competitions in decentralized exchanges that none of them charge any Solana for doing a transaction. The only person who gets charged, who gets a profit, is the person who actually sets the price, or the fee for the pool. And then that also trends to zero. So, for example, as more and more people start to add liquidity to TSATs or any kind of pool, they will dilute the earnings to the point where it trends to basically zero for the person who's adding the liquidity, to the point where it's no point at all to participate. And that's how it is. But you could say, well, then wouldn't people drop the liquidity? Well, there is a threshold there, right? Somebody can earn 0.01 and be happy with that, right? Whilst others cannot, right? So the average person who has smaller amounts of money cannot be happy with that. But a person who has millions, they can, right? Because it means a amount of money for them, with their right large amount of money or wealth or tokens. If you're talking about Bitcoin, it's huge, right? Because Bitcoin is limited, so that makes it even better. So it is not also a trend, although it trends close to zero. Some cases it doesn't actually hit zero. So just keep that in mind, right? It just gets closer and closer to zero as possible.
Wow, Da Vinci, you're really dropping facts, and I love all the knowledge that you're sharing with us. And I know that everybody listening is definitely learning a lot. I want to ask, what is the goal on onboarding more users, growing the community? I know you have millions of followers across your social networks, and you did mention that education is key. I don't want to answer too much of the question, but what do you think is the most important avenue for you to onboard more users into tSAT and keep growing your community? I know you've been screaming Bitcoin over a decade, so like, how can you amplify that message?
I realized that the amplification doesn't come from me; it comes from the community itself. And so I need to. I'm planning already planning to develop applications to help the community spread the word and share um, this information. So by adding more options for communities to help each other, the community to help grow this asset, and gamify it and enjoy this and be a part of something that big and be ahead of something that's gain the status of being part of something that's growing fast and helping other people, right? The status of helping people get out of the rat race and storing their wealth in something real is unbelievable, right? So that's why I want to gamify and provide some sort of application to allow people to feel that status and help others to come into this this um this world of Bitcoin, through this new application, a new way of looking at it, and actually feel like they're actually building something and building up a bigger number than a fraction.
Totally makes sense, and I think the gamification aspect of it is definitely spot on. It's that playbook's worked time and time again, and the community, I mean, your community, they're in the money. Everybody that's listened to you and held, I mean, they are, I mean, you've made millionaires, maybe even some billionaires to date. So getting the community vocal, I totally agree with you there. I want to ask, for newcomers who want to get involved, what's the best way to start with tSAT? Like, how can they find tSAT? What's the safest way to get into tSAT? What would you recommend?
Yeah, well, if you have a Solana, Phantom, or just any kind of Solana wallet right now, um, you can enter in your just log into enter your password, and I'm going to enter my password. Hang on 1 second, to my Solana wallet, and then what you can do is you can just hit the swap, right? And then then select the top, select which token you're going to use to spend it. I'm going to use Solana, and then what you were going to receive. You click on that drop down box and then type in TSAT. That's TSAT, and you'll see there should be only one showing up if you're in on the Phantom wallet. If you're in other wallets such as Soulflare or Backpack, they'll show you others. But this one has been registered with Jupiter, so it's been cleared, so you don't see any kind of warnings or like, oh my God, this thing's going to this is a rug pull. No, no, because they vetted this themselves, and they've given me the green light. So there it is, and you can just put in point whatever Solana or to use DT, whatever you got, and then boom, you can buy some, right? So if you put in point 0.01, Solana right now, that's $18. You get 16,787 sats and a little bit of fractions of satoshis. So there you go. Um, and then you have some satoshis very easily when you hit the swap button, and it swaps. Now, mind you, right? That's probably not the most cheapest way to do that. Um, um, Phantom, Soulflare, they take about 1% almost, and if you do that, that's the easiest way to do it. It is not the most cost effective. It is so bad, right? That I see another application to- that that's possible, right? Right? Somebody could write a Phantom Solana wallet, Solana or Ethereum wallet, and really wipe these guys out, because you could just pretty much put how much you save by just charging by making the fee zero, and put how much you save in front of the person's face, right? How much you save every time you do a swap, and then as soon as it gets to a certain number, you can say, well, you know what? If you want some support, continue using this wallet, right? Swapping with this wallet, and you cut off the swap, right? You're going to have to pay monthly fee of $20. Now, once you see it's like a savings of $100, people will be like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll pay." This is a friggin' whole. This is like a money making machine. If I could focus, if I had time to focus on that, man. If you guys want, if you want an idea and a half, this is it. These guys are going to get their butts cleaned, right? If anyone realizes how to realizes what how much they're making, because they're making money hand over fist. I mean, they've raked in, like, can you imagine? I've done one transaction and I've paid I thought $100 in fees to these guys, $100, and so I've done that many times. And then when I saw that, right, I was like, holy crap! I've done this so many times that they must have taken at least $50,000 in transaction fees in a year from me. So there you go. That's a killer app right there. If anybody wants that, I don't have the time, honestly, to chase that one down. But yeah, it is.
Wow, I mean, not only calling Bitcoin at a dollar, but giving out $1 million business ideas on the spaces as well. I mean, what can't you do, DaVinci? Coding at 11, bringing Satoshis on Solana. Honestly, it's very impressive. Like I said, it's Friday night, it's Halloween. We have got an honor to have you here for almost an hour. So I want to give you the chance to end with like a message, some advice, anything you want to share with the broader crypto community. Anybody can re-listen to this on Twitter. We're also going to be posting this on YouTube tomorrow. So anything you want to share with the DEXTools community, of course, all of the people listening in from your side. Yeah, what's the what do you want to end on here?
Yes, I think that to end it is the key thing is your mindset here. When it comes to any kind of endeavor, you have to focus on getting a specific outcome and focus on that outcome, and every single day being happy with whatever pains that you have to go through in order to get that outcome, because there will be pain along the way when you're trying to accomplish anything, or even if it's as simple as saving Bitcoin. Focus on the goal, which is saving a specific number of Bitcoin, saving having that number grow constantly until Bitcoin becomes the money. Might be your goal. Whatever that goal is, make sure you wake up to it, right? So that nothing takes you away from that goal, because there will be things like even distractions of like, hey, look, this shiny idea that's going to make millions, right? Like I found this idea, right, that I've shared with you guys. That could have easily distracted me, and I could have went down another rabbit hole, but I didn't, because I know what the goal is, and the goal is not that; it's to actually get people on Bitcoin. that might be somebody else's goal for wallet software, but it's just not mine. It's mine is to get you on Bitcoin.
Wow, that's a powerful message to end there. I totally agree with you. Mindset is everything, and I myself, I'm a big believer in having your goals and in front of you, reviewing them every day if you can. And I have to say, like, I do have a number in mind that I'm working towards, and I totally love what you shared there. So thank you, Davincij. Everybody that tuned in, we are going to be reaching out to a ton of people that shared in the comments that have been listening. We're going to be distributing TSATs and the AMA rewards over the weekend. Appreciate everybody for showing up. We have the biggest names, traders, chains coming on Dex Spaces every week. A huge thank you to Davincij and the community you brought here. And looking forward to seeing TSATs grow 1% of the Bitcoin supply, being bought up on Solana. That's a huge endeavor. So appreciate you onboarding more Bitcoiners, and keep doing your thing, Davincij. Thank you for everything that you've done for the Bitcoin community as a whole, and love to see it grow. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I would like to do this again. If anytime you guys want me on board, I'm down. All right, thank you.